when you teach someone what to think, you're basically telling them that this is what the experts are claiming. I want you to memorize exactly what the experts are claiming. And later on, when we have an exam, I want you to repeat to me what the experts are claiming. So this is how you teach people what to think. Teaching people how to think is you're going to present them an argument, and then you're going to ask them, what do you think about this? And that person can have like various opinions that may or may not agree with the experts. But as long as the logical process is correct, as long as they can articulate how they arrive to that conclusion, then the person is considered to have done a good job and they're going to get an A+. So when you teach someone how to think, you're basically teaching them the tools that theoretically fact checkers are supposed to have. Like you're teaching someone on how to be a fact checker. When you're teaching someone what to think, you're basically teaching them to obey the fact checkers. And in Romania, I was told how to critically think, both in high school and in university. But apparently, a lot of people in the West are now being told what to think, to the point where when they are exposed to a university professor that is teaching critical thinking, that video goes viral because people are just bewildered. They just don't realize, it's like, wow, is this possible? Like you can actually teach a human being how to think for themselves? So let's watch how this university professor is doing it.
I want to talk about JK Rowling. Is that so? What's going on with that? What do you want to know?
She's had a pretty controversial past. I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on it? And, like, do you still like her work despite her bigoted opinions?
This is the genetical logical fallacy, which means that if the root of something comes from an evil place, then that whole thing is poisoned. For instance, Hitler, right? He used to draw paintings. If you would say, yeah, I think Hitler's paintings are pleasant to behold, then that makes you an evil person, because why would you support Hitler? But that doesn't make any logical sense. Like, if Hitler was to bake cupcakes, and they were like some of the most delicious cupcakes that anyone has ever ate, you saying that, yeah, I like Hitler's cupcakes, that doesn't mean that you like Hitler himself or that you agree with his policies. And even when talking about his policies, you can say, yeah, I think like Hitler's stance on animals' rights was good. I mean, the Nazis did have like some of the first laws which set the cornerstone of animal rights. Just because you agree with that doesn't mean you agree with everything else, right? So a person that's critically thinking is able to separate something from the greater whole and just analyze that part. A person that is told what to think can't possibly do that. They will think like, no, like everything that Hitler ever did is always evil. And if you like his cupcakes, if you like his paintings, if you agree with his take on environmentalism, you're a Nazi. Like you need to be ostracized from society, pretty much. And this is what they're doing with JK Rowling. Like, what does her political opinions have to do with Harry Potter? Nothing. You can like Harry Potter and you can dislike JK Rowling. I mean, at the time when she was like a renowned feminist, I didn't like her because she was advocating for censorship. She was advocating for open borders. I didn't like her as a person. I didn't agree with her politics. But that doesn't change the fact that Harry Potter was a nice movie. And the main problem with this line of thinking is that when you apply it to certain professions, like for example, if you have a scientist which may be able to discover the cure for cancer, if they have what is called bigoted opinions, the solution would be to fire the scientist so that the cure is never developed. You may think that I'm joking, but they actually did that. There was a Nobel Prize winning scientist which made the sexist joke, and he got fired. Now he's working in Japan. But this is the problem, right? Like when you apply it to a society level, you may have like a very skilled surgeon, you may have a very good engineer, and they should be out of a job, and instead lesser skilled people should be hired because they don't have the bigoted opinions. And you can apply this to everything, even airplane pilots or people that do the engineering for pilots. And you can see the danger that it can cause to society when you don't care as much as how competent or good people are at their job, but you care more about what they say in the sanctity of their own bedroom while they do the clickety-clack on a keyboard on social media.
So let's get specific though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first let's start with, does she have bigoted opinions? So when you say bigoted opinions.
She has had a history of being extremely transphobic, I've heard.
Hey, you've heard. So what? Can you give me an example?
If you look at her Twitter, I think you could see a few things. If you want, I could try and find
see
something.
See if you can find one.
So, one of these tweets that she came out with in 2019, she said, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real."
So you find that bigoted? What do you find about
It was
in there?
it was deemed transphobic. I myself,
Do you find that transphobic yourself?
I don't really have an opinion on it, but I'm just going with what a lot of other people have said.
Isn't it shameful for an adult to think this way? Especially someone that's a student? Like a person in a higher position of learning? Like, I don't even care if you're right or not. You can't justify that you arrived at a conclusion because it was deemed that way. Like, why do you allow other people to deem it for you? Shouldn't you investigate? Like, if you want to buy a house, you have the salesman there, and the salesman is going to try to sell you the house and is going to try to tell you, like, the best features while ignoring the negative ones, right? If you are a person that's incapable of critical thinking, of doing some level of investigation, you risk getting conned. You risk getting a loan that can cripple you for years to come. And you have no one to blame but yourself because you are incapable of critically thinking. You just allow others to deem it for you. Or it's like people say, like, well, yeah, but like, what if people are wrong? Now, again, this is the case of JK Rowling, right? So, like, it's emotionally charged. But if you're going to go through life and you're going to constantly to allow others that you don't know even who they are, or if they have your best intentions in mind, to deem things for you, it's like, well, other people think, other people say. But when can you be one of those people, though? When can you be one of the people that say and others do what you said? Why do you position yourself in the spot of the slave? You're already saying, like, well, I'll allow other people to do the thinking for me. Why can't you be the one that does the thinking for other people, though?
Let's pause it. Let's not go with what other people are saying. Let's try and learn how to critically think. So let's analyze the tweet ourselves. So that statement, do you see anything problematic? Disregarding other people's opinions.
She did try and pin some things on a specific group of people.
Where does she do that? Can you read that?
But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real.
So when I hear that, I'm interpreting that as meaning if a woman says that, saying that there's a difference between men and female and then being attacked as transphobic, I think that's what she's saying by attacking someone for stating that sex is real.
That is exactly what she's saying.
Is that transphobic to you?
So, to me, no. Stating that sex is real is not transphobic. It's just a fact of life. It exists.
So is there anything you disagree with in that tweet?
In that tweet, I can't really see anything that I myself disagree with, but I can see why some people would think, oh, this is offensive. We can't have that here or something, because...
Sure.
There's an apology tweet.
Let's read that. What did she say there? I haven't read that.
I respect every trans person's right to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it is hateful to say so.
You see anything problematic there?
She's apologizing, so no, not really. If I could read it again.
It sounds like a very similar statement as what she was just saying. She's basically saying, like, I have nothing, to me, this is what I interpret it as, I have nothing against someone being trans.
Exactly.
It's your life, but you just don't get to impose on my, you can live how you want, I can live how I want.
Yeah.
And let's all,
Exactly.
So I guess now that we're looking at it like, oh, there's not much difference between me or her, do you think it's fair that that she's being attacked by a large group of people and people are calling her, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that JK Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter? Now, retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
It's okay though, but this is why we do this.
Okay, so a lot of you guys who went to university in the West, how many professors actually do this? Like, how many professors actually try to get the student to think for themselves and to analyze the stuff that they are saying? Because it is quite concerning, isn't it? When you actually like separate a student from the collective. So you're having like a one-on-one conversation. Because I noticed this the same when talking with like left-leaning people. The moment you talk with them in private and you separate them from the collective, and you actually start asking them a couple of questions so that you can see how they arrive to the conclusion, most of the time they will realize, oh, I was wrong. But the thing is, like, when they go back into the collective, they repeat the same things. And the reason for this is that the culture is encouraging people to maintain harmony. So the way it works is exactly like the student says, well, it was deemed that she is transphobic. So if it was deemed, that is it. You can't undeem it. Like someone somewhere deemed it. Someone with authority, with power. We don't know who, but like they definitely deemed it. And once it is deemed, you have to say the thing. So in order to maintain harmony, even if you don't believe it, even if you think that it's incorrect, you still have to say it. You still have to parrot it in order to show that you're a good ally. And it's not about transgenderism. It's about like most of the things that you will notice that the culture is pushing right now. I can't even say it's the left. It's just like mainstream culture. They deem it. And once it's deemed, you have to basically just parrot it. And even if you don't agree with it, you have to say it so that you don't get into any trouble. Still, really good for the professor. This is how you actually do teach people to critically think. Obviously, like knowing what to think isn't always bad either, because you can't go in your life and analyze literally every single piece of information. You don't have time for it. So you have to take some information for granted. But usually when it's about life-ruining stuff, or it's like some information that can have like potential damage for someone, it is good to stop and critically think. Let me know what you guys think, and do critically think whether or not you should support this channel financially. I will give you buyer's remorse in return. All you have to do is to scroll down a little bit, and the pinned comment, it's literally the first comment there. There's a link. It takes you to my subscribe star, and every little bit helps. And I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.